Hello, my name is Emma Fawcett and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator based in Newton Abbey, Belfast, Northern Ireland. Thank you so much for joining me today in Emma's Crafty Space. So I have left it quite late to start making my Christmas cards. Just life has been really busy for me and work's a bit busy too. So I just thought now that I'm in a bit of a panic mode, I am going to have to try and churn out Christmas cards quite quickly and effectively and still have really lovely projects, which Stampin' Up obviously make very easy for us with the beautiful Christmas catalogue that there is at the moment. So there's two stamp sets that I'm going to be working with is Christmas Season and A Christmas to Remember, and I am going to do a one sheet wonder with them, because this is a really quick and easy way to make Christmas card or any kind of card quickly. So I'm going to lay it out in the way that I stamp them. Okay, so you will see then how I have managed to do this. I have made 4 cards with 1 sheet of paper. It's quite cost effective as well, because I'm sure we all have white card and a colour piece of card and card bases in the house. So it is quite time effective and cost effective as well. So hopefully in this tutorial I'm hoping that if you haven't made your Christmas cards and you're kind of having a bit of a freak out, that now is the day to do it. And it'll mean then that you can get them done quickly and get them posted out and put a smile on your nearest and dearest. So without further ado, we'll get going with it. Okay, so first things first, I find it easier if I section my card off, so I kind of have a rough idea where I'm going to be stamping. So I am going to score this at 4 1/8. Okay, just to get it halfway marked down the middle. And I'm going to score here at just under 5 7/8. Okay, that means then I've got a guide of where everything that I want to put. The bigger pieces like the pine cones. Okay, I have also put everything that I need onto blocks and I kind of pair them up, so I know those two go together and I know these two go together, and it just gives you a rough idea then that you know what inks are going to be going onto what colors. So the colors I'm going to use for the pine cones are going to be Crumb Cake for the larger images. Okay, so stamp it off as well, just so you can see how deep your color is going to be and have a play about with it. So I definitely want the darker one because I think the light one's just too wishy-washy. So I'm going to stamp that there. Okay, and then I'll maybe go diagonally down here. I'm not going right into the corner because I want to put a wee bit of foliage in these corners. Okay, so I'll set that to one side, and then the smaller one, again not right into the corner. I'm going to do 2 of these side by side, that. So this is the center pieces, or whenever the cards are made up, there'll be the corners of them, but the center of this, and it just kind of gives you a starting point. Okay, so I'm putting Crumb Cake away so that I don't then go back over the top and forget myself. Okay, so now I'm using soft suede, and this is to go over the top with the next images for the pine cones. So just take your time measuring, like kind of marrying these up. I go by along this edge and marry it up along here. Okay, but you might have a different way of doing it. Again, just marrying that edge up. Okay, again set that to one side so you don't get it mixed up. And then we are going to go in with darker ones for the small ones. So again, soft suede. You could use early Expresso, but I just think it's just slightly too dark. Okay, so again I'm going to put my soft suede away. I've also got a piece of printer paper here, and the reason being is I'm going to stamp these out just so that I can create a mask, and it means then whenever I'm stamping the foliage in around the pine cones, they're not going to get hit with the green ink. And it kind of just gives you a bit more freedom. So we're going to cut these out as well. The reason I'm using printer paper is because it's really thin, and it means then you won't have a big massive lip whenever you're stamping over them with the foliage. So I'm just checking those. Okay, so I'm happy with those. Right, so I'm going to just set this down here like that. Try and marry them up. Like that. Okay. Okay, so the first green I'm going to go in with is garden green. I'm going to go in with this image here. Just stamp up like that. Oops, and look, you can see I've lifted my mask with me, so just be careful whenever you do this. Set that back down. A better way of doing your masks would be using post-it notes, but unfortunately I couldn't put my hands on my post-it notes, so that's why I've just gone on ahead like this. Okay, and again down here. Lift this mask here. Just work around the paper. So as I say, post-it notes would be ideal because you can see it's actually lifting the masks off as I stamp. I might actually try, it's this tape here. And stamp it around, set it here around the top. Will maybe help. Just keep going round. I'll take another look. So this is labeling and covering up tape, and it's the same tackiness as a post-it note. It's actually made by Post-it, and you can get it on Amazon. It's a really good product to have, and it's part of one of your tools. I love this little leafy image. Okay, so that is our start. So just thinking here, maybe put some in the center here. I'll lift the mask and see how it looks. Yeah, it needed something in there. So again, we'll go down here and do the same, coming up through the center of these two. Just make sure it all lines up. Okay, I'll lift these away. So you can see how that has just been completely protected. So now you need to fill in around here. So you can have another look at some of your images. Let's see. Go with these bigger leaves here. I'm definitely going to have to keep on working with these masks to protect the pine cones. Probably would be quicker if you did 4, whereas I've only just done, you know, 1 for each image. And it means then you're not constantly having to lift them off and move them around. So just keep going. This. And cross over your foliage. Remember, these are going to be in the corner, one corner of the card. So it's not going to be terribly noticeable. This down here. Now, because obviously I'm masking, this technique is a lot more complicated than just going in and starting to stamp your one sheet wonder. But I do think the pine cones really need to stand out on their own. So I do think you need to do this technique unless you want to stamp them and die cut them. You can do it that way as well. So I'm going to go back in here with this leaf just to try and make this a bit denser in here. And try and cover in all this white here. There's a lot of white in that corner. Then you can go up these to that and work up your lines. Now remember, these are going to be cut into sections. Okay. Now in this stamp set you've also got your holly leaves with your fillers for your leaves, but I'm maybe just going to use these sections. I'm going to bring in Old Olive and just add a little bit more colour. So like even like there, so you can just see that the green is just, it's a different shade of green, so it's bringing a bit more dimension to it as well. And you can go in as much or as little as you want with that as well. So I need my soft suede again, and I'm going to add in berries now, just because we need colour in here. Okay, so I've picked up this little sprig here, this little image, and I'm going in with soft suede. Okay. Again, as many as you want in here. Okay, these berries can brighten the whole thing up. Okay, again, cherry cobbler. So you can either do cherry cobbler or real red, or Mary Merlot, whichever one you want. Now, it'll take you a wee minute or two just to try and marry up the berries on this image. I think I might have got it wrong. It's this way here. That's it. Just take your time with it and get it the right way. And move your page if you need to. You know, you don't have to keep the page. So you can see what a difference that red has made to this as well. It's making such a difference. If you want to add a bit more interest, the berries a bit more interesting, you can go over them with a bit of Winkestella. But just keep going until you get the last sprig done. Now, I think I need some berries in here. It is a little bit boring in the middle. So I'm going to do a sprig from each corner, like that. And it doesn't matter if they're overhanging onto the pine cones either. Maybe make it look a bit more authentic. So one in each corner like that. Okay. Moving my page. Now it'll probably look a bit rubbish until we get it all cut out and mounted up on a card, so don't be freaking out when you're at this stage. Okay. Then just to kind of soften up our edges a bit. Okay. I'm going to go in with this little image here. So it's just little dots. I'm going to go in with Crumb Cake, but I might stamp off on them just to see. Well, I might not even bother, but I'm just going to see what they look like. Yeah, I'm going to stamp off with these and just add them just here and there. Doesn't matter if you're stamping over their main images. It's just to soften those edges up a bit. Make sure you fully stamp off on them. I'm just kind of going to go around on a track on these. You thought you'd clean grid paper before. If you're doing this technique, you're certainly not going to have it now. Okay. So So now I'm going to cut this up and see what it looks like. Okay, so I'm going to cut this at just under 5 7/8, which is where my score line was. Okay, and then at 4 1/8. So you can see now where we're going now. Because I've scored it, the edge might be a little bit fluffy. Don't be worrying about that, because you're going to take either a 1/4 or 1/8 of an inch off anyway, because you need it to fit onto the square. I'm just going to do 1/8 here, 1/8 here. Okay, so I've done one off each side. So I'm going to do it off the cut side now, because obviously I want to mat this up onto a piece of card. So I'm just doing it now along the side where it's scored, so that we'll have a nice straight and clean cut. Okay, so I can see this one here needs a bit more foliage, but that's something we can add later on after we've got these all cut. So I'm taking 1/8 off each side, and it means then in total I've gone down 1/4. So remember that mess that we had in the corner there? Doesn't look so messy now, because we've got the berries and we've got all that foliage. Okay, so now if I lay them all out, you can kind of see where we're at with it, and also it'll give you an idea of where you want to add in. So you can see we've lost quite a lot of foliage here, so I'm going to go back in there now and stamp more in there. Again, this image here, and I'm just going to go along that edge. Now, I would go in with little, so you can add to it, rather than completely going over the top and not being able to take it away. But I don't want too much, because I want the main feature to be the corner here. The next thing you have to do is you're going to either stamp a greeting on, or you can add tags. It is entirely up to you. These are your project. So part of this suite has this greeting set, so it's Christmas to remember. The font's actually really nice, because you've got some scripted things along with more of like a type font. I might actually use this one because it's quite a big one, and we have a big space here to fill, and I do want this to be fully stamped. I don't want to be adding tags or anything like that, although obviously with it being your own card, you can do this. This is your own project. You turn it into whatever way you want it to be, because they are going to be what you're sending out to your loved ones. So I'm just going to layer this up onto a block. I'm just making sure a block fits. So this greeting is going onto a D block. So this is how I put my labels onto my images. So I stick the sticker to a block, and the reason I do this means I've got a bigger area to play with. And I peel the back off the image. And then I've got a bigger area to play with, plus it's easier to kind of maneuver. So I find like an area that has more of rather than a straight edge, I try to go somewhere where there's a bit of a dip, and it means then once I get that dip lined up, then all the other ones kind of seem to fall into place, and it means then you can kind of manipulate it a wee bit as well. So I'm manipulating that into that point there now too, and then press it down, and then your image is good to go. So that's overhanging this block a little bit. I'm just repositioning it. So that's your image good to go. The colour that I'm going to use is Early Expresso. Now I know I've used soft suede, but I just want to bring a darker colour in, and I don't want to go black. So my go-to colour for stamping greetings seems to be Early Expresso now. So I'm going to go on ahead and stamp this. Now I would recommend that you definitely do stamp it before you layer it up, because if you layer it up then you've lost all your cardstock. Now I don't know if you can see that there's like a rough edge in that. It's just from the track of the trimmer. So I run my bone folder over that, and it smooths that sharp edge down for me. Okay, and I just do it on all 4 sides, and it means then you don't have that kind of sharp edge coming on at you. Okay, so this card's going to be like this. So I'm going to use my grid paper as a guide to make it straight. Okay, so move these all out of the way. And I'm going to stamp my greeting here. Okay, so easy peasy. So you're going to do that on all 4. You see there, my stamp has just made a little mark, but a rhinestone will be going over the top of that. Okay, so I am going to alternate my 2 matting layers between garden green and cherry cobbler. It just means then you're not exhausting one colour of your cardstock as well. And because you've used both those colours in your card, then it's even better. So this is going to be cut at 4 inches by just under 5 3/4, because it was just under 5 7/8 before. So you could go down the 16th route. So you can see there, that is just giving me a nice little slim border there. I'll do the same with the garden green one. So you could use your Stampin' Seal, but this is meant to be a quick and easy way and inexpensive. So I definitely think your multi-purpose glue is the way to go if you're trying to keep the cost down and if you're trying to keep your speed as well. There's one. This is the one I'm going to have to fix up to get rid of that little line. So looking at this, actually the cherry cobbler is definitely a lot more of a pop behind it. But so I think whenever I'm making the rest of my cards up, I'm going to stick with cherry cobbler. But equally you could do any of the browns. I think Crumb Cake would be a wee bit too wishy-washy, so either stick with soft suede or the early Expresso, which is what you stamp the greeting in. But to me, the cherry cobbler is really making that pop. Now, if you were going to go down the route of actually stamping these out on the tags, you could then like put a little pop of gold ribbon in there just to really lift it. So I'm going to get these layered up now under their card bases. So I'm going to get my thick basic white. And I love a tentfold card, but I hate the way they kind of flatten out. So I do my landscape card. So I do my landscape card with the crease to the left rather than above. So again, I'm just going to score at just under 5 7/8. So if you were doing centimeters, it's like 14.85 centimeters. Okay. And then I'm cutting at 4 1/8. Okay. So I need 2 sets of these. So again, just under 5 7/8. I'm really sorry. My cat Mittens has come in and he sounds like he's hungry. He's meowing away here in the background. So that's 4 1/8, sorry. And cut with that one. So that is my card bases. So give that a quick burnish. Bring these back over, glue them up. Again, I use my spreader end quite a lot on bigger areas like this on the tombow. It still astounds me sometimes that people don't realize that there is a spreader end on this. But just means that you get a nice thin layer. The only thing is, with it being so thin, sometimes you don't have a lot of wiggle space. So if you are putting it on quite thinly, just keep that in mind. Really is such a quick and effective way to make Christmas cards quickly. Obviously I've added to the time because I've done a bit of masking, because I wanted the pine cones to really not be covered by any of the stamping. But I do think it has made such a difference to them. All that's left to do now is to add some gems. So I've lifted a selection here. So you've got your wee red and gold ones. They've got like kind of gold leaf nearly in through them. You've got your wee epoxy enamel dots. I'm not sure if I think they're too yellow, maybe. Don't know. And you've got your gold gilded ones. To me, they're too chunky. But that's my personal preference. You've got your red again, but you see there, real red, and that's cherry cobbler. For me, it's a no-no. And then you've got pearls, but I actually really like these, I think, with it. And the thing is, I don't know if you can get these anymore. These are wee champagne rhinestones. You might be able to get them, I don't know, but if you don't, I'm sure you already have them in your crafty set. And the reason I like these is because although they're champagne, to me they've got like a kind of crumb cakey tinge of them rather than pinky champagne. So nope. Just gonna add, I always like things in threes and cards in rhinestones. So I don't have my pokey tool in hand, which would make this a lot easier. There's one. And these are perfect for hiding little fingerprint marks like the one I'm just about to cover. Where'd that one go? There. And I also have a little dot here. I don't know what that is. So I'm going to cover that too. So I'm sure you have some things in your crafty stash that you can use. I just don't think the silver normal rhinestones would do it justice. I think there does need to be something colourful here, and I just think the champagne ones for me are perfect in keeping with all those nice Christmassy tones. And I would recommend you don't use the tip of your snips, because it makes it very fiddly. So that is all four done. As I say, if you were going to do go down the route of tags and things, I would definitely then maybe add in ribbon to it. But as I say, this is meant to be something that's really quick and easy, so this is how I have done mine. So you can see there how quick and simple it has been. I hope this tutorial has inspired you to maybe make Christmas cards quickly. I have kind of left it really late to be starting to make Christmas cards, but so that is why I'm resorting to a one sheet wonder, because you can make you can make 4 cards at one go. And as I say, it's all stamped. You don't need any extra equipment. All you need is stamps, inks and cards and a few rhinestones. You can make it as simple or as complicated as you like. So hopefully this has inspired you to maybe have a go and actually send Christmas cards this year, rather than just saying, oh no, I've left it too late, and maybe make someone smile whenever they open up a handmade Christmas card. So I will put a list of everything that I've used in the description below, but as you can see, there actually isn't much. As stamp set, card and a few rhinestones, and there's also a link to my online store if you need any supplies and you don't have a demonstrator of your own. It would be great if you could jump on there and put in a little order. Also, if you give me a little like or a subscription, that is what keeps me going, believe it or not. So all I have to say now is happy Christmas, and I hope you have a really lovely time with your friends and family this season. Thank you for joining me. Take care. Bye bye.